Welcome, everybody. We're still waiting for a few people, but we can still get started. My name is Ann Mordecai, and this is Heather Jenkins, waving to you right now. Welcome to Using Results from the Interim Assessments. She will be our host, and I will be answering questions behind the scenes, reading all your questions. And here, when you get this PowerPoint, you'll be able to read all this wonderful stuff about us. We want to thank the DOE. The DOE has been sponsoring webinars since we went remote, so since March. And that's, we've learned a lot doing them. We've actually learned how hard it is to teach remotely. And we also want to thank you for your dedication to students, because I can't even imagine how hard it is, actually. Everybody will be muted during the webinar until the end. If you have questions at the end and you want to be unmuted, you can raise your hand and we will answer them. Please ask questions as we go. Heather did get some questions in the registration that she'll answer, but if you have questions, ask them as we go. Put them in the question and answer section, and not the chat. If you put them in the chat, we might miss them. But if you put them in the question and answer, I will see them, and I'll either interrupt Heather right away or I'll interrupt her a little while later and give her the question. So if you have something you'd like everybody to see, put it in the chat. And tomorrow you'll get an email that has a link to a folder where you'll find the PowerPoint, any data, any reports or any data that, or not data, but any files that we talk about today, and a link to the video and your certificate for your PD certificate. And we want to turn everybody's attention to the New Hampshire LearnsRemotely.com. There's tons of information out there. The DOE put that out in March also. You can get information about, for families, if you're parents, or you can send this to your parents. There's food and nutrition information, federal guidelines, COVID information. There's tons of stuff out there. So take a look. And Heather, I will now turn it over to you.
Sounds good. This is our cue also to turn off the our videos. So I'm going to stop my video right now so that it doesn't get distracting. If you've taken my webinars before, you know that this is my little gentle reminder about if the plan doesn't work, we are going to change the plan, but never the goal. So we know how hard it is to do remote learning right now. And so our plan, the way we are used to teaching, is not necessarily going to work. So we're just going to switch that up and still continue to help our students. So for today, we're going to answer the following questions. Where do I find the interim results? What do the interim results look like? And how do I use the interim results? This is our third webinar that we've been doing for this same topic, and each time we've kind of added just a little bit more of what we're finding. So you're in luck if you're here today. This is the latest and greatest. So for questions from sign up, so some people said that they were new to this testing and just would like an overview of how to interpret the results. You're definitely going to get that today, so hold tight. Same thing for how do you print a brief parent report. There is a sort of short student report that's an individual student report that I'll show you how to print. And then what do you do if you think the results of certain tests are not valid due to student guessing or rushing? This is kind of a common theme, I feel like, right now with any sort of reporting. So we're not going to tell you to have the kids redo it or anything like that. Just kind of keep that in mind as you're looking at the results. They might be a little bit different for some of those students this particular fall. So another question, does SAS align with the NIWA? They're both aligned to the Common Core. However, the NIWA is a really short test, so your students might score differently on the NIWA than they would on the New Hampshire SAS testing, even though they're both aligned to standards, just because they are so short. But yes, they're both aligned to the same particular Common Core standards, but totally kind of different tests due to the length. Why might some of your scores be missing? Somebody said a couple of their students were missing from the reports. The most common reason we've found that the student scores are missing is because the student hasn't actually completed the assessment. They may think they have, but they haven't maybe clicked what the last thing that they need to. They might have answered all the questions, but not, clicked through all the questions. Some students might have started them thinking they finished, but there's still more for them to do. So the best place to go and look to see if there are students that have started an assessment but haven't finished it is in the TIDE system. So as you are logging into the portal, you have an administrator that is able to go into the TIDE system and check to see if you have specific students. So I would ask your test administrator to check those students who might have started but not completed the assessments. And the question of will I touch on other subjects? I'm not totally sure what this meant, but if you're looking for interim results for ELA math and writing, like the ELA reading and writing portion and math, you're in luck. So here we go. What we know. So we know for these interim results that the DOE is not looking at these scores for accountability. They have made it very clear that they're not looking to see what kids what teachers did in the spring and check to see which teachers might have had kids who didn't make the gains that they were thinking. They're not using it for that at all. They probably will look at it just for general information, but it's not for accountability. So these results are from a grade level below the student's current grade level. When the requirement was put out, the state tried to make it clear that if you're in 6th grade, you're taking the 5th grade interim. If you're in 4th grade, you're taking the 3rd grade, which is why they required it for grades 4 through 8 rather than 3 through 8, because it is a grade level prior. So you just have to keep that in mind when you're looking at the results. So what this means, it's good to know, this is sort of our philosophy, it's good to know how they performed on the end of the year assessment from last year's skills. Any teacher would say, okay, it's good to know maybe that there's holes here or there's gaps there. Think of it kind of as a mini summative, and you can kind of also see maybe not just where there's gaps, but maybe where they did better than you thought. So it's just general information that's good to know. So if your students don't perform well in a specific domain, you may take a little extra time to reteach it. But what this does not mean is that you spend all of your time reteaching skills from last year. It's just not, that's not recommended. We are not recommending to use anything from these interim results to spend any sort of exorbitant amount of time reteaching what we feel like kids missed in the spring. Again, it's just a good to know where there might be some gaps so that if you can take a little bit of time to either pre-teach or reteach, you can. So our agenda for today, we're going to look at the Cambium portal login. We're going to look at the interim reports overview. We're going to look at exporting the data to a spreadsheet. We're going to look at different data views inside the actual system and then wrap up with any additional questions. So step one, getting into the portal, you are going to this particular link now. If you type in New Hampshire SAS, this is the first thing that pops up. It used to be newhampshire.portal.aras.org, but it's changed to Cambium because they are the ones that are in charge of the sort of coding of the system at this point. Once you go in, you're going to choose test administration. And then within that, you are going to choose reporting. Once you choose reporting, it will have you log on. It's the same logon as you had when you were administering the interims. You know, if you haven't logged in a certain amount of time, sometimes you have to put in a code and they will email you that code. Again, sometimes the code goes into your junk mail or your spam, so check it out if you have any problems logging in. Once you log in, if you are an administrator in the system, you might get this screen. If you're a teacher, it will bring you right to your regular home screen for reporting. So most of you will automatically log you in. Once you're in the home page, this is what it looks like. You will see the grade levels that you have access to within the reporting portal. So for me, I have access to more than one grade level. So you will see that I have more than one grade level here. If you're a teacher and you have one specific grade level, then that's what you're going to see. Just a heads up, the results for writing are not separated out. They are shown within the ELA results. I'll show you a little bit about what that looks like in a few, but if you have students that did not take the writing assessment, they will not have any of the results showing up in the ELA results. They have to take both the reading and the writing portion for them to be able to show up. So for those of you who might have some students missing, that might also be one of the issues, is that they didn't take the writing. So I just want to point you in the direction of some of the things on this screen. This little I here, what that tells you is what the performance levels are. We all kind of know this because we're used to the summative results. We know that the red is a level 1, level 2 is yellow, level 3 is green, and level 4 is blue. Now, if I go through and I want to look at specific results, I'm either going to choose interim ELA or interim mathematics. I'm going to choose math right now, and we're going to drill right into the math portion. So this is what the test results page looks like. You would have every assessment name that you had given for mathematics or that you have access to. This little I here, again, this is something that is basically your cut scores for your specific assessments that you did. So you can see interim math grade 3, here are the cut scores for each one of those levels. The I that's next to the performance distribution, it's the same thing. It's going to give you the cut scores. I kind of like the way this one looks because it's by color. It's color coded. So I just tend to like the view of that. We will give you a document in the folder that will also have, it's like a spreadsheet with the cut scores so that you can look at it and have it just for reference. So if I drill into this section here, if you were part of any of our webinars that were how to administer the interms, Anne was talking a lot about the test reason and keeping it unassigned, or at least choosing the same test reason for each grade level. This is an example of why. So here's our test reason here. We have a couple of different test reasons. So if we look at this math grade 3 assessment, you can see there's 2 different test reasons here. So I can't really view in the system both of those classes together or those sections together. So that was the reason for the test reason. You can download reports and get them into Excel and be able to kind of view everything together, but that was one of the reasons why we had recommended the test reason be the same. So if I'm looking at this interim math, you can see with the number of students here that it's probably 2 classes, maybe 3, that all have the same test reason. So I'm going to drill into there and selecting what I wanted to view. So here they are here, right? So I'm going to choose grade 4. If I had rosters, they would show up here with each specific teacher's name, and their particular classroom would be kind of separated out if I wanted to. Most people we're finding didn't do rosters for the interms. So we're finding that most schools don't have them. So without rosters, this is what it looks like. You would have your district and your school, and here all the students would be listed in one area rather than by specific classroom or specific section, depending on what grade level you teach. So this is performance by roster. If I go in, I can see here, there's 39 students, right? I can also open up each one of these little plus signs, and it will show me what each domain test score was. So here's the example of that. So I've opened each one of them up. Here's my overall test score. And then for each domain or domains, in this case, measurement, data, and geometry are all together. So you do want to make sure that you're taking a peek at that. Sometimes there's more than one domain that's in a reporting section. But now you can see that each one of those is what each sort of section looks like, right? If I go and I drill down to the performance by student here, I wanted to just show you here, this again is the scores and for the scaled scores, sort of the cut scores for that. And this little eye here, this is reported quantile measure. This is something that's been pretty interesting for us to kind of look into and understand with the state. So here is a quantile measure. The way that I can explain it is for those of us who are ELA folks, it's kind of like a Lexile measure, but for math. So it's called quantile measure. I wanted to point you into the direction of the Department of Education, the New Hampshire DOE, has purchased a premium membership for everybody that is this particular website. It's hub.lexile.com. And they paid for this membership for the year. I wanted to show you how you can take a peek at this. You just register. And then if you choose you're an educator and you choose the state of New Hampshire, it will automatically give you premium membership. And this is the information that you'll have access to. I'm going to show you how to use this in a little bit more detail in just a couple of minutes, but I just wanted to point you in the direction of that, and I'll circle back around as we talk about this for a specific student. So I'm back again, performance by student. I can open these up again with my students. So now I can see for each student how they did. I just cut it off here, and you can see I'm using fake names. I'm a huge sports fan, so they're my favorite athletes. So now you can see for each student how they performed in a specific domain. Now, what I wanted to make sure that you understand as well is this is just like the summative in that you have a total score and there's 4 scoring levels, right? There's a level 1, 2, 3, or 4. For each domain, there are 3 scoring levels, and those are low, approaching, and on or above. So what they have done is, because there are quite a few questions on the test, from what we understand, the reason that there are only 3 reporting or scoring levels within each domain is because there's a lot less questions. So it's harder to break it up into 4 different levels. So within each domain, there might be 8 questions. And so it's harder to give them a level 1, 2, 3, or 4 in such a small amount of questions. So what I also want to make sure that you understand is you can see that low is low and on or above is on or above. So those folks are sort of on the outlying section, but the approaching section, that has a huge range of abilities. So just be careful and take a peek at your approaching kids as well, because some of them might be really close to being in the low level. Okay, so as we're looking at this, a reminder also about the interim is that not all students are given the same questions on the interims. We have, from the way we understand it, it's a relatively adaptive test in that if a child is answering a question a certain way, it may give them another question. It's not adaptive in the sense that it's going to span across grade levels or anything like that. So if you have a student who's in 5th grade that's a really high math student, it's not going to give them 7th grade interim questions, but it is variable. So not every student's getting the same exact questions. So you need to drill down into a specific student to see how they did on each question.
We have a question.
Yep.
So I think you said this, but I'm not sure. So, is approaching good or bad, or I mean, it sounds like a good thing to me. Is it bad?
Yeah, I mean, approaching sounds good in theory, but approaching isn't always kids that you don't have to worry about, I guess is what I would say. Because it's such a wide range of abilities in there, there are going to be some kids that just barely made it into the approaching sort of realm. So they're kids that still need to be on your radar. So what I was saying was I would just caution you on thinking, oh, they're approaching, they're totally fine, because that's not necessarily the case.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now if we're looking down to the question level, I would choose a specific student. I would drill down into that student. So you can see I'm looking at Florence Griffith Joyner. And for this student, I can drill and I can open up any of those domains and see how they did. So I just opened up the measurement data and geometry. I just want to make it a little bigger because I know the screen isn't all that big. So here we have how this particular student did on the measurement data and geometry domains within this interim assessment. So as you can see, this is kind of why approaching isn't always an indicator of whether you need to worry about them or not, because there's not really a ton of questions in this area. And you can see also how the student did on each particular question. So here's the question number. Here's the point value for that. And here's the points awarded for that particular question. So now if we look deeper, we can see that she had 3 questions that she did not answer correctly. So if we want to drill into a specific question, I can say for her, question 31, again, this is not for everybody's question 31, but she has this was her particular question. What is the name of an angle that measures 180 degrees? So that is the item or score. If you click on the rubric and resources, it will show what that cluster is and what the standard is or standards that are being measured. If you want to see what the student's specific answer was, this particular student said the name of an angle that measures 180 degrees was an obtuse angle. So she did not know that it was a straight angle. So if we look here, I just wanted to drill into the question level for ELA. That was a math example. I wanted to show you some ELA as well. So you would go right in, choose your specific class or section, choose performance by student, choose your student, and you would get this. So again, now this is Florence Griffith Joyner. This is her ELA interim results. You can choose, you could open up every single one of these domains. What I wanted to show you here was writing standards. This is, I think it's interesting for folks to kind of understand where the writing is. So this is where this is here. And here is her writing. You can see that she had question 27 here. It is worth 10 points and she got 4. So if you look here, question 27, and you wanted to see what the question was, here is her question. That's the item and score here. If you click on the rubric and resources, you'll be able to see how this particular question is scored. And then here you can see right here what this student's answer was on the writing. So Anne and I have been working with some folks, and this has been one of the portions of the system that we have found folks have really sort of used and taken a peek with their students, and wanting to figure out sort of how they can increase their writing scores and things like that. It's been really beneficial for people to see how kids are answering the writing questions. Just because I feel like people don't necessarily know that this exists, I wanted to show you where the writing rubrics for the grade levels are for you to be able to print out or see, so that you can see how the students are being scored. So on that 9-box page, if you click Test Administration Resources, it will bring you to this page here. Under General Information, if you click that, you will get this page. And if you click For Teachers, you will be able to see there's a lot of information. It has a lot of the sort of standards and all of that, but this is one portion of it. And here's all of the writing rubrics that are used to be able to score writing within the system. This is not just for the interns or things like that. This is also for summatives and things like that. It is across the board something that I have, when I talk to folks about it, nobody ever knows that there's rubrics in the system to be able to help them understand how the scoring is for students, and to be able to help teach the kids what sort of things to be looking out for, or to make sure that you're including for your writing answers. Okay, ideas for using question level data. So time permitting, if you have drilled down and looked at question level data, students can sit down and go over the individual results with students. Obviously easier when you have a smaller class load or things like that. If you're in 4th or 5th grade and you have one particular group of students, understandably a little bit more difficult for those students or teachers that are in a middle school setting, because you do have so many. But special ed teachers can also go over the results with their students and their caseloads. For those with Performance Plus, we are looking at getting data down to the question level, so that you could print out how students did on specific questions a little bit more readily than we can just using the portal. But for those folks that don't have Performance Plus, we have talked to Cambium to see if we could get a report that's the question level, and if that's possible for them to do for us. And I'm going to show you how to download individual results in Excel today. So just hold tight for that as well. And then also the Quantile and Lexile Hub members, you can search for specific standards to look for prerequisite skills. So if you find that kids are missing a specific question routinely, you can go and take a peek at that standard, and it will show you what prerequisite skills are, or give you some sort of general tips and resources for teaching that particular standard. So just to kind of delve a little bit deeper into the Quantile and Lexile Hub, again, free to you. Anne and I are relatively new members of it, and you don't get inundated with tons of emails, by the way, either. So that's been nice. But if you go in here to the teacher assistant, there's also this little area, the math skills database, that is also super helpful. So if you search here, you can see that I have searched, I'm looking at New Hampshire, grade 4, and this is a specific standard that I'm looking for. What this tells us is, here are some of the prerequisite, they call them QSCs, they have their own codes for them, but for this particular standard, here are the skills that are needed before trying to teach this. Here are the skills that are needed to make sure that students are meeting this standard. And then these in pending are skills that kids who have all of these can then move on to these particular skills. So if I drill down into any of these, like if I'm looking for a prerequisite skill and I choose one of those, as soon as I choose any of the skills, it doesn't have to be prerequisite, any of them here, it will bring you to a page with that skill. That skill will have prerequisite skills and impending skills. But the cool thing about this is as well, is it also has resources. So these are all videos for how to teach those prerequisite skills or the skills that are needed for this particular standard. So I'm not going to go much more into this, but I just wanted to kind of point you in the direction of that. If you're looking at interim results or any results of any assessment for that matter, and you're looking at sort of ways to make sure that you are covering those skills, or you need something to add to your teaching or your reteaching or things like that, then this might be a really good place for you to go to.
Hi, Heather. We have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get back to it. Curious about some schools not using rosters. Is there an advantage to this?
To not using a roster?
Yeah, either using them or not using them, I guess.
I haven't necessarily seen that there's a benefit or not. Have you, Anne?
I think the biggest benefit is the way the system's set up is if you give the test, it's your test session where the kids are logging on to, you can see the results from those students. But if your students are taking the test at another test session, you can't see their results. So it's good to have rosters, then you can be sure that you can see your students' results. I think they're good.
Right. Gotcha. All right. So this is, I want to go now into when you're in the portal and you're looking at the reporting. If we want to look at downloading student results, so now we're going to take the results that we see in the system when we download them. There's a couple of things that you can do here. One, if you are on the main reporting page and you choose print, it will bring you to this page here. And just know wherever you are within the reporting system, it will open up a page and create sort of like a single page PDF of whatever results you're looking at. So right here, I'm on the main reporting page. So it's showing me the main reporting results here. I'm going to go down and show you a little bit more information about this once I drill down into a different section. But just know, if you click on that print and it's not showing you what you want, hit cancel rather than your back button. If you hit back too many times, it logs you right out of the system. So if you want to go and download specific student results or specific grade level results, you would click the download student results. Now, these here, because I'm on the main testing screen, it will ask me to answer all of these questions. If I had drilled into each section, when I click on the download student results, it saves to wherever I am in clicking into that particular reporting module. But I'm just going to go through the whole thing right now so that we can kind of go through step by step. So I've just clicked from my main page, download student results. I just make it a little bit bigger. You can see here that there's different test reasons that you might have access to, or different sets of students. And then here, I'm just going to choose all the test reasons and click next. Then it will ask me which subject I would like. Any of the subjects have anything that has a little sort of triangle caret thing, you can drill down in and you can choose a specific grade level or things like that. Again, it's dependent on what sort of access you have in the system. So I'm going to choose ELA and math, and I'm going to choose next. And then it has where I select students. This filter here, you can select students who took the report on a specific date range. Okay. But if you just want to choose all students, you can use this little thing. Here's my students here. You'll probably see more than what I have here, but you're allowed to choose it. You can choose one student, all students. I'm just going to choose all students. And then if you look on the right-hand side, they have our report types. So for right now, I'm going to be choosing the criteria of an individual student report. a single PDF and simple, right? And then I'm going to generate it. So simple is for the person who asked if there was just a short student report, this is it. This is the simple one. So this is what it looks like. This is the ELA portion. So this is still actually, it's all the first page, but I showed it on 2 different pages. So this is the specific student. You can see what their score and their level is. You can see their Lexile information for the ELA. You can also see what their performance was by category, if they're low, approaching, or on or above. This is what the math, it's a single page, quick, this is what their level is. It's a little bit about their quantile information. And then again, this is what their performance is on a specific reporting category or domain. So you can choose the simple report, but if I chose detailed instead of simple, you're going to get a similar first page, but it's a lot, obviously, more detailed. So if I choose that, you've got your same ELA first page here with their score and their Lexile. This is, again, how they're doing for the reporting category. It also includes some detailed information about the trends. Most of us, this is the first time we're taking it. There's no trends. There's a single point of data on there. Now that what this is going to give you, though, is it's going to give you what their scoring was and how they've done on specific portions of the assessment. So reading, standards for literature, which question numbers, how many points they earned, and things like that. So this is pretty much down to a little bit more specific level for questions for that particular student. And this is continuing ELA. Now with math, it's the same thing. First page is the same. 1 point of data for our interms. If you are somebody who used interms in the past, you're in luck on this page, but not too many people did. And then here again, it is down to the question level for that particular student. Okay, so those are the student reports. But if we wanted to download it into a spreadsheet form, we kind of do the same thing. Here's my main reporting page, download student results. You get this page, and instead of individual student report, you would choose student data file. Once you choose student data file, you get to choose between Excel, CSV, or text. I tend to use Excel because choose Excel because that's all I really want to use. But you can choose whichever format you would like. And you're choosing the same criteria, however you want. I'm choosing ELA. I'm choosing specifically on this one, just math grade 4, but you could choose whatever you wanted. I'm going to keep all of those students and I'm going to generate it. So what happens once you click generate on this is you're going to think that it all went away because you're going to get back to the main reporting screen and you're going to say where to go. It's in your inbox here. So you'll click your inbox and then you'll choose whichever particular report that you've generated that you wanted to see. And then it will show up in your downloads and you'll choose a report to be able to download and it will open up in Excel. Now, for this particular report, it's got a lot of information because I chose math and things like that. You'll see that I've got all of my domains and how each student did. I took their names off, but it has their names on there as well. So anything that you would like to do in Excel, you can do. So if you're really well versed in Excel, there's a lot of different ways that you can sort this data. But if I wanted to print a student level report with the standards attached to it, if I were to go into the reporting system here, I could drill down in to my math or whatever. I could go into ELA. I can choose a specific group. I choose performance by student. Now I have to go into the student level to be able to get it by standard. You cannot get any sort of standard level anything without really drilling down into the student level. So I'll choose my specific student. And then what I want to do here is I'm going to choose this print button. This is the button that I was saying I would talk to you about a little bit later. So now that I'm in this section, when I choose print, I get this reporting window, and you can see that it's a little bit different format, but it's giving me down to the question level for each one of my domains here. And what you want to do is you want to choose Save to Excel or Save to CSV if you prefer that. And then you choose Confirm. And you'll get this. This will pop right up for you. And you'll choose to open it or download it. It will automatically download. For some reason, when you choose print, it doesn't show up. You don't have to go into your inbox. This shows right up on your page. And so you click that. And this is sort of a part of the report downloaded into Excel. And you can see for measurement, data, and geometry, you've got a couple of domains here that it's looking at. But here are the questions, right? And down to the particular standard. This is the only way we've been able to get questions sort of matched with standards in any sort of report at this point. We're hopeful that we might be able to get some more information. But so far, for people that don't have Performance Plus that are just using the portal, this is as good as it gets for getting down to the specific standard level. Okay, so if you're in the system, there's different ways that you can view the data. So I've kind of gone through the reports and what you're able to print. What I'm going to show you now is what you can kind of look at in the system and be able to kind of sort and do things in the system and maybe take some screenshots. So here I am again on this familiar reporting front page. I'm going to choose math here. And then again, if I want to choose a specific test, I'm going to choose performance by student. And I'm looking again at my students. If I take a peek here at these little, they're grayed out, but you can use them. So what we've found is with some of the sites that we've talked to is that we want to see and just sort of highlight maybe those level 1 and level 2 kids that we need to take a little bit more of a peek at. So if I click on that, I've taken the names off of here, but this is a screenshot of the reporting portal with the level. Here, you can sort in ascending or descending order. You can sort by overall score or by any domain. So you can open up a domain and sort by the domain. You can screenshot the views of it. And we found it's helpful, again, for those level 1 and level 2 students that we could show them to teachers for further review. And we've got the cut scores and things like that for you in the folder again. So if we look here, I have sorted, this is the math. I've sorted here by overall performance of a level 1. So I can see all of the students. Now I've taken the student name off of here, which is obviously going to be essential for you. But because I can't show you actual student data, I've taken that off. So you would be able to screenshot this from the portal and you could take a peek at those level 1 kids. I did the same thing for ELA. So you can see all the language standards. I have sorted my level 1s here. And again, it has a student name and things like that over to the left. I've just cut it off of this screen so that you would be able to give this, or as a teacher, you could use this for any of your level 1 kids to kind of say, all right, what are we looking at? How can we help these particular students? All right, so there might be more questions, Anne, but I just want to point folks in the direction of the Cambium folks. We are doing these webinars for the New Hampshire DOE. Cambium is a company that is looking and basically doing the reporting system and the assessment system for our purposes and for the New Hampshire DOE. They wanted us to make sure that you knew how to contact them. So if you go right to that 9-box page, there's a contact us. And this is the Cambium help desk. Anne and I try really hard. If you email us, we have our information coming up in further slides so that you can email us with any questions you have about reporting. But Cambium, sometimes we have to go to Cambium and ask them. It's sometimes easier to get right to their help desk and to be able to talk to them directly. So this is their information. Yeah.
Should I interrupt or no? Good time to interrupt.
That's fine. Sure.
Somebody was hoping that you could show how to determine if students have finished or not.
I think we can try to do that, and I just want to make sure that I'm not showing student information, but I'll walk you through getting to the page, but I won't show you any student information.
Yeah.
So I'll show you how to get there. I wanted to also point you in the direction where this 9-box page is. There's also, again, in the test administration resources, if you go into system manuals and user guides, there is the New Hampshire SAS reporting user guide here. So if you're somebody who likes to have your sort of manuals printed out and things like that, this is where you would go for that. It is pretty up to date, and it's also pretty long. So maybe just rewatch this or email Anne and I or talk to Cambium, but it is there for those of you who like your user guides. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of my PowerPoint and I'll go to just my regular Internet Explorer here. And I'm just going to go in to here. If I go into, so this is again, New Hampshire portal, cambiumask.com. If I go into test administration, where you're going to see your kids who have might be in the process or haven't finished or completed an assessment, you go into TIDE. You have to log in. So you need to be able to have access to TIDE to be able to see this. And then you'll choose your user role. It's different than mine. But if you're used to getting into the system, this is how you would get in. And then right here, is this the monitoring test progress, Anne?
Yes.
Yep. So monitor test progress. And then it's plan and manage testing. And within here, you're able to choose your district, your school, and all of this. And this is students who, and you could say have not completed, and then whatever your grade level or things like that is. So you would be able to choose and see and get a report that would show you those kids who did not complete.
You might have to choose have started, because I'm afraid that if you say have not completed, it might show the students that didn't even start it. But you can just play around with it a little bit.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. So I'm going to get back to the PowerPoint. So
wait, one more. Somebody asked about printing reports, and I just want that person, if they want more information, to say something. Okay.
Yeah, because that's a lot of the things that we've kind of gone through is how to print the reports in the system, either with that print button or to download test results. So here, I just wanted to point you in the direction of our website. Underneath, we have some workshops and things like that and webinars coming up. If you choose remote instruction, these are the two that are coming up this week and next week. So on Wednesday, we have a PLC, progress monitoring. And on December 2nd, we have a reassessment and celebrating growth webinar coming up. If you want to look at any past webinars we have, it's on that same page on our website. You can click on any of these live links and it will bring you to our YouTube channel. And you can view any of our recordings or things like that. They're all free. You can follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're also on Instagram. It's not on this page, but we have some really kind of fun things coming up. We have articles that that we think are great and you can reference. We have just some general information about some upcoming webinars and some fun facts. There's some white papers on there and some tips and tools and things like that. So check us out. And then this is Anne and I. Again, you can email us. We had somebody emailing us today from a site that took our webinar last week, and she had some general questions that we were able to answer. Again, if we can't answer it, we'll go right to Cambium. So you're also welcome to go straight to them. Are there any other questions, Anne? I thought I saw one pop up, but maybe you were able to answer it.
Sorry, I was muted. No, it was the person who wanted instructions on how to print said she was all set.
Okay, perfect. So Anne and I will stay on for probably another couple of minutes. And if you have any questions, we'll be able to hopefully answer them. And if not, thanks so much for attending the webinar today, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Yep. And if you raise your hand, we can unmute you and you can just talk to us. We do have a question here. Can the student writing be printed?
So Anne and I were taking a look at this earlier, and I believe that you can print their answer if you go into, let's see if I can get back to that slide really quickly. I'm gonna go, if we drill down into that section for ELA. Might be further up. Okay. Trying to find my slide here. That's math. I tried to label them with ELA. It's probably way further. Here we go. It's further down. I can't find my page. I'm trying to show you where I drilled in. I wish I could go live into the system. It just is not possible.
I can say it. So you'd have to go in dig down into the detail of the students, which is what the page she's looking for, and then probably do a screenshot or a print of that. There is no way to download everybody's at the same time. So that's useful.
In general, we have not been successful. So here's this here. So if I'm going to go down here, so you can see if I'm going through the information here, I'm down to the specific student and I have this writing standards. If this was a full screenshot, you would have that print button here. And it would open up sort of that print screen. It's not going to do it here, but and you would be able to choose that you wanted an Excel file, and just like this. So it would be like this page when you choose print, and you would choose save as Excel or whatever. I think Excel is an option, but even if it says CSV, it would be in there. And I believe that's what I was testing earlier. And I believe it would download just that one student's answer for writing into an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that'd be good.
Mm-hmm. That's how we got down. It's the same way we got down to the math standard level, was we had a specific student open, and then we hit the print button and we chose an Excel file, and that's how we got it to open up in Excel down to that one student to the standard level. I believe it puts the student's writing response in there as well.
Okay.
I'd have to test it. It's something that we were having trouble with the system earlier when we were testing it, but I believe that's going to be possible.
Great, thank you. Nobody's raised their hand, and I don't see any more questions. So I'll give you another minute, and then we will probably sign off. But thank you for joining us, and please call us if you have any questions. You'll get the email tomorrow that has the PowerPoint, so you will see our phone numbers. Bye, thank you.
Thank you,
Oh,
bye-bye.
there's a hand.
Oh, you do?
We have a hand. Jim, you are unmuted. Jim? Hello, Jim. I guess I can't hear you. Did you have a, oh, you're not unmuted. You are actually.
There we go.
There you
go.
go.
All right. I just want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you.
The rubrics, I did not know about those writing rubrics or the vocab list for the ELA. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. And it's good to see Heather Jenkins. I'm Jim Jenkins.
Oh.
Not related, but
not related. No.
Absolutely rock star.
And I work with a music teacher who's named Jeff Jenkins.
All right.
It's a small world. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for attending.
No more questions, and I don't see any more hands, so I guess we will go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.